As you can see, I've begun this drawing by drawing a straight line that's exactly 3 1/4 inches in length. I'm going to draw another line and I'm going to draw it in this 300-degree direction and give it a length of 3.75 units. Let's reassign that line to the visible line layer. And next I'm going to offset by 0.375 this line and this line. I'll draw lines to connect the ends. I'll select those two lines and place them onto the correct layer. In fact, while I'm at it, let's just make the visible line layer the active layer. I'm going to trim by making each of these two lines cutting edges and trim the excess. Now I'm going to copy this line in this direction by some convenient length. I'm also going to copy this line in this direction by 1.5 units. I'm going to project a line from this corner to this end point and then trim. I'm going to draw a circle, but I'm going to snap from that midpoint at a relative -1, 0 and press the Enter key. The radius of that circle is going to be 0.25 units. I'm going to copy the same circle in this direction by 1 unit and draw a line exactly from a quadrant to another quadrant. I'll use the mirror tool to mirror this object about the center line of that circle. We'll use the trim tool to make each of these two horizontal lines cutting edges and trim the excess of each of those circles. I'm going to draw another circle from the center of this arc, and it will have a radius of 1.25. Let's use the trim tool to make each of these lines cutting edges and trim the circle. I'll repeat that command and make this arc a cutting edge and trim the excess. Now I'm going to project a line from this point to a point perpendicular to this line. I'll use the trim tool to make this a cutting edge and trim the excess of that line. Now I'm going to make the hidden line layer the active layer and project a line exactly from a quadrant to a point perpendicular to this line. I'll use the trim tool Now I'm going to mirror this object about a midpoint between 2 points, this center point and that center point, and we'll mirror each of those lines into their proper positions. At an empty command line, I'm going to type UCS and press the Enter key. I'll type the letter Z for Z-axis and press the Enter key. And now I'll define the origin and a point on the positive X-axis. And notice that the cursor and the UCS icon have changed. I'm going to copy this line in this direction to some convenient length. I'll repeat that command and copy this line in this direction by 1.5 units. I'll project a line from this corner to this endpoint. Let's reassign that line to the visible line layer. And we'll use the trim tool to make this a cutting edge and trim that line. I'm going to draw a circle, but I'm going to snap from the midpoint of that line at 1, 0. And the radius of that circle is going to be 0.25. Let's draw another circle, but I'll snap from the center of this one at a relative 1.5, 0. And it will have a radius of 0.375. I'm going to draw a circle from the center of this one and give it a radius of 1.25. I'll use the trim tool to define these two lines as cutting edges and trim that circle. Let's repeat that command and define that circle or circular arc as being a cutting edge and trim each of these two lines. Let's project a line from a quadrant to a point perpendicular to this line. We'll trim that. And now I'm going to copy that line from a quadrant to a quadrant to another quadrant to yet another quadrant.